A troubling report now highlights the loopholes that let kids bypass online regulations and buy e-cigarettes. You have to be 21 years old to buy tobacco products, and retailers are required to verify that with photo IDs. And an ID scan is required to accept those kinds of deliveries. But a study from the Journal of American Medical Association looked at attempts to buy flavored nicotine vaping products from 78 websites and have them delivered to private homes. So 78% of the products were delivered with no delivery interaction. 16% spoke with delivery personnel with no ID check, and only 5.7% had their ID checked but not scanned. Researchers also reported about 80% of the orders were delivered by the U.S. Postal Service, and that's concerning because the Postal Service is not allowed to ship e-cigarettes and vaping products.